Welcome to today's explainer. We're diving straight into a fascinating textual and linguistic breakdown of Surah 48, Al-Fath. We're going to see how this text masterfully flips the script on the entire concept of victory. It completely looks past raw power to reveal something much more profound about human psychology and community building.
Here's our roadmap for the breakdown. We'll hit the paradox of victory, look at tranquility and the covenant, examine how the text exposes the left behind, and finally, discuss the ultimate measure. Let's get right into it.
Section 1, the paradox of victory. We're kicking things off with a striking historical and textual paradox that literally sets the stage for the whole surah.
Think about this for a second. How can a tactical retreat actually be declared a manifest victory? That's the core mystery we're unpacking today. The text boldly declares a massive conquest at the exact moment the believers are facing severe constraints and actually pulling back. It's kind of like being told you just won the championship right as you're forfeiting a game. It feels completely contradictory, right?
Well, to solve this mystery, we've got to look at the text's architectural blueprint. It's got a really clear tripartite structure. Verses 1 through 8 open with a decree of an absolute breakthrough. Then verses 9 to 20, the middle section, zoom way in on internal qualities and the covenant. Finally, verses 21 to 29 give us this closing vision of a unified community and future triumph. So it moves deliberately from a divine decree to internal sifting right to a community vision.
So our first major linguistic anchor completely redefines the Arabic root fat. We usually think of conquest as swords and shields, right? But here, FTH means to open, unlock, or secure a legally and strategically binding breakthrough. It is not about a destructive military takeover, it's about a structural, peaceful transition. It's a real game changer.
And we see this anchored right in the opening verse. Verily, we have opened for you a clear opening. Notice that past tense. The conquest is decreed as an already established definitive fact, well before any physical expansion even takes place.
Moving to Section 2, tranquility and the covenant. So what actually enables this non-military breakthrough? We have to look inward.
It all comes down to the root word Sakinah. Sakinah is this internally deposited steadiness, a profound calm, and psychological firmness granted during intensely volatile situations. Without this stabilizing force, the believer's strategic restraint would have been totally impossible. Imagine every instinct screaming at you to lash out, but you have this divine anchor holding you steady.
Ayah 4 puts it perfectly. He is the one who sent down tranquility into the hearts of the believers, that they may increase in faith along with their faith. So Sakinah isn't just some nice, warm feeling. It's a strategic force. It's deployed specifically to prevent impulsive retaliation and prep the community for something much bigger.
And that something bigger is the bay'ah. The text takes a standard commercial term for making a pledge or transaction and elevates it into an unbreakable covenant with transcendent weight. That inner peace we just talked about, it was the absolute prerequisite to make this massive, unwavering commitment under immense pressure.
Look at how Ayah 10 phrases it. Indeed, those who pledge allegiance to you are only pledging allegiance to Allah. The hand of Allah is over their hands. The physical metaphor here, hands over hands, is incredibly powerful. It links allegiance directly to the divine, making the pledge irrevocably binding. It completely transcends a mere political contract.
Section 3, exposing the left behind. Now, whenever a line is drawn in the sand, somebody is bound to stay on the other side.
This creates a stark sifting process. On one side, you have the true believers, characterized by absolute commitment, internal Sakinah, and an immediate response. On the flip side, you have the left behind, the Al-Mukhallafun. Their alignment is purely transactional. They rely on shallow excuses and calculate risk entirely based on fear. The text categorizes them purely by their internal state, not their wealth or status.
What's really fascinating here is that the text doesn't just throw standard words for hypocrisy at them. Instead, it uses the root word zun, meaning a speculative, evil assumption. Their failure boiled down to pessimistic guesswork because they completely lacked that foundational, structural certainty.
Ayat 12 is essentially an X-ray of their intentions. Rather, you thought that the messenger and the believers would never return to their families, and you assumed an evil assumption. They literally excluded themselves because they doom-scrolled the situation in their heads. They assumed the absolute worst-case scenario, judging everything by physical metrics, and totally missed the divine dynamic right in front of them.
That brings us to Section 4, the ultimate measure. We've seen how the community is sifted, so let's look at the brilliant mechanics connecting these internal states to the ultimate reward.
Check out this architecture of victory. 1. Sakinah descends to calm hearts. 2. The Bayah is pledged under pressure. 3. The sifting exposes the transactional skeptics. And 4. The Fath, the manifest opening, is fully realized. It's a flawless internal logic. You literally cannot have the victory without the pledge, and you can't have the pledge without the tranquility. It's an unbroken chain.
And here's the kicker. The ultimate measure of this whole sequence isn't military dominance or how much land was conquered. It's Rida, divine pleasure. This is the climactic validation. It's the ultimate arbiter of the believer's internal choices and the single metric that actually matters.
Just look at Ayah 18. Allah was certainly pleased with the believers when they pledged allegiance to you under the tree. I absolutely love that detail. Under the tree. It grounds this massive spiritual validation in a highly specific, physical, historical moment of choice. It wasn't an abstract concept in the sky. It happened right there, in the dirt, under immense, terrifying pressure.
So the grand takeaway from this explainer is a total paradigm shift. True victory is the spiritual consolidation and internal alignment of a community, not just the raw application of military force. When a community is structurally unified, constraint is literally the gateway to expansion. What looks like a retreat externally can actually be the very mechanism for a lasting victory.
Which leaves us with a pretty provocative question. If true victory is measured by internal alignment rather than external conquest, how does this completely redefine our own understanding of success when we're facing constraints? It really makes you look at the roadblocks in your own life differently, doesn't it? Maybe true success is built from the inside out. Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and I hope this deep dive into Surah 48 gave you a fresh, powerful lens on what it truly means to win.